Greetings, it's Iain from R.T.O here. Welcome to a very dark and dingy Northampton. 9 o'clock in the morning and I've still got my lights on. Unbelievable. It's horrible out there. Rocky hasn't even ventured out yet. He's fast asleep still and I don't blame him. Anyway, to brighten up this day, I've got some really good videos today. We have got a great live band and a new start of a story. So we're going to kick off today with some Styx. So their live albums. Styx, American band formed in Chicago in 1972, known for that blend of hard melodic rock and acoustic guitars, a little bit of synth thrown in. Power ballads, of course. They went through the 80s stage of making everything sound but they come back strong and still performing today. The original lineup, of course, was Dennis DeYoung, James Young, J.C. Kuruweski, and the brothers Chuck and John Panozzo. They have released 9 live albums, but they're 2 that are quite the budget ones. Yes, the budget ones. Or the ones, let's get some more money. Okay, so let's kick off. So coming in at number 9, we have an album from 2003 called A 21st Century Live. Now these tracks that are identical on another album called Worldwide Live, presented in a different order, and does include a few tracks that are not on the Styx world. So the band at the time were Tommy Shaw on vocals and guitars and mandolin, James Young on vocals and guitars, Lawrence Gowan on the vocals and keyboards, Glenn Burtnick on bass and guitars, Chuck Panozzo on bass, Todd Schumann on drums. So I'll just go through the tracks. You get Rockin' in Paradise, High Enough, Lorelei, Sing for the Day, Boat on the River, Love is the Ritual, Snowblind, Miss America, Come Sail Away, and Renegade. Yeah, okay, you get a few tracks extra, but you know, in the wrong order, doesn't flow. Haven't got it, have listened to it, and I just don't like how it flows. It's very choppy and changey. So I shall give it an R.T.O ranking of 2 out of 10 just for them turning up. Okay, coming at number 8 is an album called At the River's Edge, live in St. Louis. Again, it's sort of bits and bobs from another live album, and they've shortened it into like a highlights. We've got Everything Is Cool, The Grand Illusion, Blue Collar Man, Lorelei, Falling for Yourself, Lady, Brave New World, Edge of the Century, Heavy Water, Too Much Time on My Hands, and Renegade. I can see the point of this a little bit because it came out on another album, which we're going to talk about in a minute. But why would you go and buy this if you've got the other album? Yeah, I never saw the point in that one. So I'm going to give this one an R.T.O ranking of 3 out of 10. Right, that's got rid of the budget and the trying to get more money albums. So this is where it really starts for me. So coming in at number 7, we've got an album recorded at St. Louis, the same place as the other previous album, and it's called Arch Allies. Now, this is a double album, but it's split into 2. You get the 2 bands that are on that tour, R.T.O Speedwagon and Styx. It was recorded in September in St. Louis and released on November of that same year of 2000. So we're not going to talk about the R.T.O Speedwagon today. We'll just talk about the Styx. So the lineup for this one was Tommy Shaw on guitars, Lawrence Gowan on the keyboards, James Young on guitars, Glenn Burtnick again, Chuck Panozzo, Ted Schumann. So the first track on here straight off, Pieces of Eight, a little bit of Blue Collar Man, Long Nights. Great track. I love that track. Followed up with The Grand Illusion, which is an absolute killer track. One of my favourite tracks by this band. We stuck with Grand Illusion for a bit of Fooling Yourself, the Angry Young Man. Great live. Tommy does a great vocal on that. Lady from Styx 2, one of the great tracks off that second album. Really good. Then we go into some of the newer albums from Brave New World. Title track, really good live. It's a lot better live again than studio. We go into 1990 now for The Edge of the Century. Again, it really sounds better live than it does in the studio. Back to the Brave New World album for Heavy Water, good track. Then we pop along to Paradise Theatre for a bit of Too Much Time on My Hands. Really strong version of that. You know, for these 80s songs that have started to get that smoothie yeech on it, then bring them out now and they sound a lot better. Then we have from Renegade, again the classic from Pieces of Eight. And then we have a bit of Jam, which is a jam version with R.T.O Speedwagon, and they do Blue Collar Man with both bands, pretty good. And then they do a R.T.O Speedwagon track called Roll with the Changes, which is off their 1978 album You Can Tune a Piano But You Can't Tune a Fish. I love that title. A great little album. A clever idea to have the two bands on different albums. It's a good album all round, really. But just for the Styx bit, I'm going to give this an R.T.O's, not the. Shall we start again? And I'm going to give this an R.T.O ranking of 6.5. We had a long live stream last night. We won't be doing 3 hours again, I can trust you. So we're going to give that one a 6.5. So coming in at number 6. This is an album from 2006, and it's called One With Everything. Now it's a live concert, which was filmed with the Contemporary Youth Orchestra. So you got all these young musicians on stage with Styx. As many of all these songs do not contain any of Dennis DeYoung's compositions, so they're all after he had left. So playing on here, along with the orchestra, which is conducted by Lisa Grossman, we have Tommy Shaw, James Young, Lawrence Gowan. We've got Ricky Phillips on the bass, Chuck Panozzo on the bass, Ted Schumann on drums. So it opens up with Blue Collar Man. Absolutely brilliant. He scratched some sort of acoustic songs as well. So Blue Collar Man's an acoustic, and they're sitting on the thing. It's a video as well. It's a really good show from Pieces of Eight. And then we get One With Everything from Cyclorama, which is a great track, how they've done it on here. Not a different interpretation of it. Then we got a Willie Dixon thing, I Don't Say Make Sense, You Can't Make Peace. Pretty cool version of them. And they do this fantastic version of I Am the Walrus, the Beatles song, of course. And having the orchestra there, they did a really good version. And then they go and throw in a new studio track called Just Be. Isn't too bad. It's a nice track, actually, which is pretty cool. And there we go for a bit of Fooling Yourself, which is more of the rocky sort of thing. Grand Illusion, great track off there. Then we have a track from one of Lawrence Gowan's solo albums, A Criminal Mind, title track off the said album. Very, very good. Then we have another little studio track, and it's called Everything All the Time. I like this. It's a good rocker, really strong rocker, and the kids sound great. Too Much Time on My Hands from Paradise Theatre, excellent. Then we have Crystal Ball, title track from the album. Great. Bit of Miss America from Grand Illusion. That's always a great track. Boat on the River, which is beautiful on here from Cornerstone. And we end up with always with the brilliant Renegade from Pieces of 8. I like this album. These young people are fantastic. And there is a young, I mean, he'd be a bit older now, but at the time, there was this solo violinist. This young, could have been from Far Eastern origin. He was fantastic. It's a really good show, and it's great that Styx did this with this youth orchestra. It must have been a buzz for them to play with one of the great American rock bands. So I'm going to give this an R.T.O ranking of 7 out of 10. Okay, then coming in at number 5. Now remember that first album we talked about, that cheap, nasty budget. This is what it was actually taken from, Styx World, which came out in 2001, and it's drawn from performances in Japan, Canada on the 2001 tour. So it's Tommy Shaw, James Young, Lawrence Gowan on key vocals and swiveling keyboard, Glenn Burtnick, Chuck Panozzo and Todd Schumann. We start this one off with a great track from Paradise Theatre, Rockin' the Paradise itself. Fantastic. Then we have a Damn Yankees cover, High Enough, are pretty good, written by Ted Nugent, no less, and Tommy Shaw. Lorelei from Equinox, love that track. Then they do A Criminal Mind from Mr. Gowan. Love is a Ritual from The Edge of the Century, really good track. Again, a brilliant version. Boat on the River, it's one of my favourite songs from Cornerstone. Halfpenny, Twopenny from Paradise Theatre, just a great track. Sing for the Day, I love this track and it sounds really good live. Snowblind from Paradise Theatre, fantastic track again. Sometimes Love Just Ain't Enough. Now, this is a Patti Smith song that she did with Don Henley, and they do a really, really good version. Crystal Balls on here. It's always a good track. Miss America from the Grand Illusion. And this one ends with Come Sail Away from the Grand Illusion. Really good album. Enjoy this. Well produced. Really good sound. Some badly edited some in there somewhere. Bit of fading going out, which I don't really go for. But apart from that, it's a really strong album. Some great live thing. One thing with Styx, again, another band that really are better live. Although they made some great albums, but their live stuff's really good. So I'm going to give this one an R.T.O ranking of 7.2. Okay, then coming in at number 4. Well, this was released in 1984, and it's Caught in the Act. And it was the final album of that very successful lineup of Styx. So you've got Dennis DeYoung on vocals, Tommy Shaw on vocals, Dennis Young's also on keyboards and accordion, James Young on guitars, Chuck Panozzo and John Panozzo. So the first track on here is Music Time, which is a studio track. That's that horrible 80s. Yeah. Not my favourite. Then we get Mr. Roboto. Now, the studio version, I'm not a great fan of it from Kilroy's here. Not a great fan of that album, full stop. But the live version is a lot better. The drums sound better, which always helps. It's none of that smooth nonsense. It's still not my favourite track, but it sounds a lot better live. Then Too Much Time of My Hands from Paradise Theatre, absolutely killer version of that. Then we get Babe, yeah, from Cornerstone. Yeah, not one of my favourite tracks. Snowblind from Paradise Theatre. James Young doing the vocals with Tommy on that. That's pretty good. State Street Sadie and The Best of Tom from Paradise Theatre. Very good. Dennis singing well on that one. Tommy Shaw's guitar work is fantastic. Then we have the sweet Madam Blue from Equinox. Fantastic track. James Young doing a fine vocal. Rocking the Paradise. Lots of people doing good here. Lead vocals was Dennis. Both James and Tommy providing a couple of cracking guitar solos. Then we get Pieces of Eight. Brilliant. Miss America. Great vocal from James on that one. And then Don't Let It End from Kilroy Was Here. Again, not a great song, but always better live. Boat on the River. Can't do without that. Lovely accordion from Dennis on that. A bit of nice mandolin from Tommy. Fooling Yourself, The Angry Man. A great track from The Grand Illusion. Crystal Ball. Just love that track. The synthesizer solos from Dennis on that is pretty amazing. Come Sail Away. You can't go wrong with that. Really good album. Nice to have at least one album with Dennis on it. All these songs sound a lot better live from that period. So I'm going to give this one an R.T.O ranking of 7.5. Okay then, and coming at number 3. This is from 2015. And it was recorded at the Orleans Arena in Las Vegas. And it was recordings taken from their successful Soundtrack of the Summer Tour of 2014. So on here we've got the bass guitar, Chuck Panozzo, or Panozzo. Bass guitar is Ricky Phillips, Todd Schumann on the drums. Dom Felder makes a guest appearance on one of the tracks. Tommy Shaw as ever, James Young as ever, and Lawrence Gowan as ever. So this opens up with a fantastic, brilliant version of The Grand Illusion. What a way to open the show with this track. It's a great track, one of my favourites. Too Much Time on My Hands from Paradise Theatre. Then we pop back to Fooling Yourself from The Grand Illusion, really good. Then we dive back into the early days and Lady off Styx 2. Always nice to hear that one come out. Sweet Madam Blue from Equinox, really good. They stay with Equinox and they do Light Up as well, which is pretty good. Crystal Ball, always great. Superstars from The Grand Illusion, love that track. And then a Blue Collar Man came and Don Felder come out and give him a hand. And he does a fine job, of course. Come Sail Away, Rocking the Paradise, Peace and Renegade. 3 great tracks to end this gig. Very good live album. Some great versions of these songs. Love listening to this. So I'm going to give this an R.T.O ranking of 8 out of 10. Number 2 then. This is their second album. It was released in 1997. And it's from their reunion tour with Tommy Shaw, but without John Panozzo, who sadly passed away a year before. This was recorded at Venue Rosemont Horizon in Illinois. And the band was Dennis DeYoung, Tommy Shaw, James Young, Chuck Panozzo and Todd Schumann. First track we get is a studio track written by Tommy Shaw, and it's called On My Way. It's got some great riffs in this. Decent track. Really good. Paradise. Again, another studio track. Really nice. Great vocal from Dennis. I like that song. Then we go into the live stuff, and it starts off with AD 1928 and Rocking the Paradise from Paradise Theatre. What a start of this show that was. I love that intro. Absolutely brilliant. Blue Collar Man. Another fine version of that. Lady from Styx 2. One of Dennis's finest songs, I think. Too Much Time on Their Hands. Another great track from Paradise Theatre. We're sticking with Paradise Theatre for Snowblind. Pop over to Equinox for a bit of Sweet Madam Blue. Crystal Ball's on here, which is great. And then we go into a little bit of a Grand Illusion, Fooling Yourself sort of put together type thing. Really good. Show Me the Way from Edge of Century, a good track. A fantastic version of Boat on the River from Cornerstone. Little bit of Lorelei from Equinox there. Okay, we got Babe. I do admit though it does sound a little bit better live. And we have 2 tracks from the Grand Illusion album, Miss America and Come Sail Away. A little bit of Renegade from Pieces of 8. And then The Best Times in AD 1958 from Paradise Theatre. And then we have a little track called Dear John, written by Tommy Shaw, which is a really nice tribute to John. You know, it's nice words, quite heartwarming and moving, and you can't mock this song at all because it's a tribute to a former comrade. I think this is really good album. The 2 studio tracks are really good on this as well, and that nice tribute to John. So I'm going to give this an R.T.O ranking of 8.3. But my number 1 album is number 1 for 2 reasons. When I tell you the title of it, you'll know why if you've watched my Styx album ranking. It's from 2012, The Grand Illusion and Pieces of 8. Both albums in their entirety. Yeah, you can understand why it's my top. This was performed in Memphis at the Euphorium Theatre with James Young, Tommy Shaw, Todd Tuneman, Lawrence Gowan, Ricky Phillips and Chuck Panozzo. So you get the intro in 1978, The Grand Illusion, Falling for Yourself, Superstars, Come Sail Away, Miss America, Man in the Wilderness, wonderful, Castle Walls, and the grand finale. It is a finale on this. It's absolutely brilliant. Then we go to the Pieces of 8 and we get The Great White Hope, which is fantastic. I love that track. I'm Okay, Sing for the Day, wonderful. The Message, Lord of the Ring, Blue Collar Man, Queen of Spades, Renegade. Then we have a keyboard interlude, a bit of Pieces of 8, and Aku Aku. Well, it's obvious why it's my number 1. These are my number 1 and 2 albums by Styx. This is on DVD as well, which I've seen, and it's fantastic. But over the years, these musicians still go out there and churn out some great music. I'm not one of these, oh, it's not right without Dennis D. Young. Doesn't matter that you got a, you know, poor old John passed away, but Todd's done a great job on the drums. Lawrence Gowan is an amazing musician. Tommy Shaw has driven this band along. So I think these are great versions of these brilliant albums from their past. A lot of people have got a lot of affection for. So I'm going to give this an R.T.O ranking of 8.5. Okay then, we're going to start a new story, and we're going to do, for the next few weeks, we're going to look at, it was a request, one of the father of British blues, and it's the incredible Alexis Corner. And he spent a little time talking about him last night, and we're going to start off with his very first album, and it was called The Breakdown Group. So we're going to have a look at that album. So join for that later. Hopefully the light may improve for that. You never know. There is such thing as a miracle. So I'll see you later. Bye for now.